Hi guys, Jay Smith here, welcome to AskGolfNut channel and welcome to Mizuno Pro S1, newly just released against Mizuno Pro S3. Whether you're thinking about buying either one of these or actually thinking about blending these two, one is firmly in the blade, the players category, and the S3 is in the players cavity sector, but it's the smallest cavity I think I've really ever seen, but it's very much so like the JPX 923 Tours and the Tours from the JPX series, which is now the new Pro S3. I've got the data when it comes to the three different swing speeds, 70, 80 and 90 miles an hour. We'll also have a look at them when it comes to the forgiveness or the consistency. Even though these are very much so on the player's side of things, they are more forgiving than you actually think. Looks wise, you're looking at the S1, newly released. It is their new blade, same finish, the white satin of the S3, so they will blend very, very well when it comes to the looks. The S3 has got very, very similar dimensions to the S1. If you are thinking about blending these two, there's not much difference between the two at all. You're looking at a marginal difference in top line, marginal difference in sole thickness, and we're talking marginal difference in blade lengths as well. Basically, guys, if you're going to be putting these down by the golf ball together, really, there's not that much difference at all. Feel-wise, they are both made of 1025E, the lovely forging material that Mizuno have used for quite some time to try and make the unmistakable nothing feels like a Mizuno feel. And they also have copper underlay, that layer that they put underneath the last finished layer to try and keep the resonance, the sound, down to a minimum so you can keep that buttery, soft feeling. Out of the two, when it comes to the looks and feel, that is very much so subjective. It's your opinion. Personally, I like the plainer looks of the S1. I'm a traditionalist, so I do like chrome, and chrome is nowhere near on these two golf clubs. It's far, far, far away from chrome. So they do have that white satin finish, and again, if you like that or not. So if you're looking for the sound difference to be your denominator of if you're going to buy which one or not, they basically feel exactly the same. And if you're looking for same blending opportunities between the S1 and S3, there's going to be no difference in feel between them either. Let's go have a look at the information when you hit them all over the face. Let's see which one wins, which one's more consistent around the face. On the screen, you can see this is the Heatmap style. This is what happens when you don't hit the middle. Every single millimeter that you move off of the middle. How much ball speed do you drop off when you hit the toe, heel and low, etc. This is how you're looking at it face on. We have the Pro S1 up on the screen. As you can see, we've got plus 22 on the left hand side, that is the toe. Right hand side, minus 22, that is the heel, high and low as well. If you haven't seen these, that blue line is turf interaction line. If you're going to hit the golf ball slightly higher in the face, 5 or 6 millimeters, you can get away with. Any higher than that, you are going to be interacting with the ground first. And even if you weren't, if you're on a tee or in the rough or anything else like that, high on the face is extremely penal. And so if you can miss it anywhere else on the face other than high, because it's not good whatsoever. But when it comes to these heat maps, you're basically looking at seeing how big that green blob is and where that green blob is, because different golfers are going to require that green blob in different places depending on where their pattern strike is. If you are a toe striker, you want that green blob radiating towards the toe, no different with your heel, and also low, you want that green blob to cover that area as well. The Pro S1 is a blade. It is a full-on blade. It is not supposed to be forgiving at all, yet you can see that green blob is not bad at all. It is quite good laterally across the face. It's not brilliant low, but it's pretty good laterally across the face. You can go all the way to 20 millimeters or so off the toe, and we're still in the 3%, nearly going into the 4% of ball speed. Remember, being a blade, you're hitting it more than 3/4 of an inch off the middle, and you're only losing around about 4% of your ball speed, and hence distance, because ball speed on a flat face iron and distance is basically directly correlative. So it's doing exceptionally well, and if anything, it does slightly better off the heel when it comes to the heat map on the Pro S1, only losing a firm 3% by 20 millimeters off of the heel. Bear in mind, guys, if you look at the overlay down the bottom left hand side, you see that red strip on the heel. That is effectively 21, 22 millimeters and beyond. If you're going to be hitting anywhere near there on the heel, you are going to be interacting with the hosel, and no one like hitting a shank. This golf club, although very, very good off of lateral misses, considering it is a blade, off the low parts of the face, it is not the best. It does okay, but if you are a lateral misser, fine. If you're a low misser, then there are other golf clubs on the database, www.askgolfnut.com, which will do much better off of the low strikes. We will move over to the Pro S3 now. You can see a completely different heat map. The heat map on the Pro S3 is much more helpful off of heel strikes. Not so much helpful off of toe. It is slightly better low, but it is distinctly better off of heel strikes. And so if you're going to compare this to the Pro S1 and you are a heel striker, absolutely, the Pro S3 is a much better option than the S1. If you are a bit more of a sprayer, even though not necessarily a sprayer, if you move around the face, toe, heel and low, then I would say within reason the S1 would probably be a better on average option, because on the toe of the S3 it just doesn't do as well as the S1. But again, when you're looking at the heel performance of the S3, it's just mighty good. So it's time to have a look at the radar chart where you can compare both of these two golf clubs side by side in forgiveness and also flight. This information is straight from my website www.askgolfnut.com, where my website members will be able to choose between this and 90 or so other irons. We've got some drivers on there as well. We're growing the driver database every single release as time goes on, and we're also increasing it no different with the irons as well, 90 or so at the moment. On the screen you can see we've got the Pro S1 in blue and the Pro S3 in red. You can see the differences straight away. Just go by the from the heat maps. You can see on the toe section just how much better the Pro S1 is over S3. And again, if you are a toe striker as a miss from your blade or whatever golf club you like to hit, then the Pro S1 is the choice for you. If you go on the heel though, you can see how the S3 just does so much better than the Pro S1 off of heel strikes. Low, the actual winner again is the Pro S3, very slightly, but the Pro S1 is not far behind. And overall forgiveness, if you balance and average everything out, the Pro S3 just pips the Pro S1. The face speed, this is the part of the radar chart where we have a look at the trajectory side of things. How does the golf club, or the characteristics of the golf club, how does it flight the golf ball? So different golfers will want different things depending if they're a slow swing speed or a fast swing speed. Different golf clubs do different things. The face speed is a measure of how fast that face is, and everything after here is loft for loft adjusted. And so you can see that the face speed on the Pro S3 fractionally faster than the Pro S1. The Pro S3 is a cavity back design. It has the possibilities there for a little bit more tech inspired design rather than the full-on blade that the Pro S1 is, and so it's not necessarily a surprise to see that the Pro S1 has got a slightly slower face. S3 just wins on that. Face spin rate, again, loft for loft adjusted. What golf club converts more spin onto the golf ball than others? And you can see the Pro S1 is a lower spin golf club than that of the Pro S3. We are talking about center of gravity. If you have a golf club with a lower center of gravity, you have a tendency to launch it higher. That is not always the case. The Pro S3 is doing mighty well at keeping spin on the golf ball. And if you go to launch factor, again, loft for loft adjusted, although these are all the same loft, the Pro S3 wins on the launch factor. Now, when I say wins and loses, it's not necessarily, going back to what I said just previously, it's not necessarily a win or loss. It all depends on what you need. If you're a golfer that hits the golf ball too low and you are going to be looking at trying to get the golf ball as high as you possibly can do between these two irons, then the Pro S3 will win. And if you're, let's say, a super fast swing speed golfer who does not like seeing ballooning and doesn't want to see the golf ball go flying up to the moon, and then you could be absolutely looking at the Pro S1 being the better option for you. Remember, when it comes to these guys, people are going to be looking at these two for blending opportunities. So you will be potentially looking at, say, the Pro S3 in the longer irons, and you will want to see there be a slight difference in launch factor and forgiveness when you don't hit the middle. Having a little bit more forgiveness across the face as a whole, and then also having something that launches slightly better, especially when loft starts coming away, is mighty important. So you can see there is blending opportunities between these two, quite clear and obvious blending opportunities between these two. So to now we're looking at the different swing speed data. I've got the data here for the 70, 80 and 90 mile an hour data between these two irons. This information comes straight from the self-fit tool, the gold tier on my website, and it will allow you to compare this or any other of the 90 or so irons on the database like for like in flight on the screen in front of you. So you can see I've got the Pro S1 covered in blue, and we've got the Pro S3 in yellow, so we can see the difference between these. So we've got 70-mile-an-hour set at the very top of the screen. Angle attack -2, that is how much you come down into the golf ball, how steep you are, shallow you are. And then we have got the shaft lean at -2 as well. How much do you de-loft? Do you add loft or take loft away? And if you are a gold user on the website www.askgolfnut.com and you need a little bit of assistance or help in understanding how you need to be moving these sliders around to suit your own delivery, because that's the whole idea of this, you can change the club head speed and change the delivery to suit how you hit a golf ball, and then that will then personalize the flights that you will see with your swing. But if you need to see that, I'll put the information on the screen down the bottom, the contact details. Probably the best way is through Discord. So we've got the 7-iron of the Pro S1 going 118 yards of max carry, 114 yards of average carry. Average carry is just basically a nominal miss around the face, about ½ inch or so on average, and what kind of drop off you will be seeing. 21 yards in the air and 43.6 degrees descent angle. So at a slower swing speed of 70 miles an hour with a 7-iron, it is functional. It will go into a green and have some modicum of control. I love to see a descent angle of 45 degrees. In reality, especially with the slower swing speeds, anything above 40 degrees has some control or a chance of stopping the other end. If you go to the Pro S3, we're looking at 119 yards of carry, all that extra 1 yard, that is it. But we have got 115 yards of average carry, because remember, the forgiveness overall on these two golf clubs is very, very similar, with it just going to the S3. The biggest difference in the forgiveness is where the forgiveness is on the face. 22 yards rather than 21, so we're going fractionally higher because of that fractionally faster face and fractionally higher launch factor on the Pro S3, and 44.8 degrees descent angle as opposed to 43.6. So it's just coming in slightly steeper, going in slightly higher as well, and give you a little bit more control the other end with the gain of 1 extra yard. If you go to 80 miles an hour now, looking at the Pro S1's going to max carry of 138 as opposed to a 139 of the Pro S3. Average carry is 134 to 135, no difference really there whatsoever. It's basically within reason, exactly the same. But we're talking peak height of 28 to 30 and descent angle 47.5 to 49.3. The faster you go, you're starting to see that the Pro S3 is now starting to stretch its legs a little bit more. Not necessarily in the distance, they're basically going exactly the same distance. I'm not going to be concerned over a yard at all, but what I do like is the fact that the Pro S3 has that opportunity, especially for blending again, going into something like the 4s and 5s and 6 irons at a slower speed like the 80 miles an hour, going in with a little bit more assistance, because remember, these are middle strikes, these are centered strikes, and so if you hit them in the middle, this is what you're going to be seeing. However, if you hit one slightly low on the face or slightly toe and slightly heel, take a little bit of ball speed off, you are going to be suffering in peak height and descent angle. So even though you're looking at, say, the 5-iron, the Pro S1 being 45 degrees and the 4-iron being 43 degrees, I still would not use a 4-iron for the Pro S1 because of the fact that being the middle strikes, when you do hit the middle, fine. When you don't hit the middle, you're going to be losing a little bit of height, losing a bit of control, and it might have a chance of skipping out the back. Full on 90 miles an hour now, and we've got the max carry of the Pro S1 going 155 yards, max carry of the Pro S3 going 154. So we're reaching the point now where at the faster swing speed, a slightly higher spin, slightly higher launch factor, rather than getting a yard extra on the Pro S3 on the previous two swing speeds, we are now starting to, I wouldn't say bludgeon the golf ball through the air, but we're starting to get a little bit too much launch, a little bit too much spin, and it's starting to cost a little bit in distance. It's 1 yard, they're basically exactly the same, and we're looking at no difference in average carry of your forgiveness as well. Peak height, we're going 36 yards in the air with the Pro S1, 38 yards in the air with the Pro S3, and 51.3 to 52.3 degrees descent angle. The S3 still on balance is winning. Now, when you're looking at 90 miles an hour, no different to 80 miles an hour, it's very much so picking at what point you want to blend into the Pro S3. Now, I would absolutely say that you could possibly use the Pro S1 all the way through the range if you delivered at this speed and this delivery dynamics, -2 and -2. If you were to, let's say, hit down more on the golf ball, or at least de-loft a little bit more, and you don't get the height that you are going to on a -2 and -2, then you will have to look at the trajectories and make your own decision. Normally, I would say that if you're going to be swinging at 90 miles an hour, you are a little bit steeper, you're a little bit more de-lofty, and so no different to me when I'm hitting these shots. This kind of golf club will go about 10 yards or so further, but then I'm not hitting them as high, and they don't come in as steep. but then at my speed I don't have to necessarily worry about that. But when it goes to the 4-iron and 5-iron, I would not go into a 4-iron of the Pro S1. I do de-loft a little bit more, and so if I wanted to, I didn't have to physically hit it higher, try and hit it as high as I can and shallow out my delivery like -2 and -2, and so then it would work. The problem is it's a one-dimensional golf club for me, so then I move into a hybrid. Now, you may not like hybrids at all, you may want to go into something like a direct line replacement, absolutely fine. But the great thing with the self-fit tool, it allows you to put your own data in, your own swing data, look at all of the 90 or so irons, and then get to see at what point, if you want to go blend, you can blend, at what point you want to blend, and if the irons you're looking at are even functional for you. So as a conclusion to the Pro S1 and Pro S3, in their own rights, they are both very, very nice looking, very, very nice feeling irons. There is basically no difference in feel between these two. I cannot pinpoint a difference in feel between these two irons whatsoever. They basically feel identical. Performance-wise, they do very similar things, with the Pro S3 having a slight advantage in launch factor. It wants to hit the golf ball slightly higher, loft for loft adjusted. It wants to convert more dynamic loft into physical launch, which will absolutely help the golfers that are thinking about either blending these two irons or even thinking about a slightly slower swing speed golfer, looking at the two and see which one's going to work for you. It will be the Pro S3. Forgiveness-wise, you can see the difference between these two is very, very slight. The biggest difference between these two green blobs is where they are located and at what point you need the help. Now, if you're a heel striker, the Pro S3 is definitely going to be the better golf club for you. It is just more helpful of more parts of the heel than the Pro S1. The S1 compared to the S3 off toe strikes is much, much better, and so where the Pro S3 wins on the heel, it does lose out on the toe. So if you're a toe striker, as they miss the Pro S1, and if you are low, they are very, very close. There is a marginal win to Pro S3, but it is very, very, very marginal. And again, if you are a predominant low striker of the golf ball, I would say really the Pro S1 and Pro S3 are not a feasible option. There are many, many different golf clubs on the dirt base which will do a much better job off of low strikes. Hope you liked the video. If you did, go and hit that like button, hit the thumbs up. YouTube likes, so do I. Down there is a subscribe button. It's free. It is great for the channel if you could subscribe, so thank you. Next, that one is a bell icon. That's a notification bell. If you click that one, that'll let you know next time I upload another video. Hope you're well. We'll see you again soon.